Okay, so we'll start now. Hi, welcome to Comic Beat Insider, the mashup Zoomcast, live stream podcast, chat room. Started during the pandemic and now at episode 21, so in case you're counting. So we never hoped this show would last beyond the initial 13 episodes, but we got a full order for 26. So
right. We got the back nine.
We got it. Yeah. So I'm Heidi MacDonald. I am the editor-in-chief of The Beat at comicsbeat.com, the news site of comics culture.
And I'm Jimmy Aquino of Comic News Insider, the weekly podcast covering comics, TV, film, and pop culture since 2005.
And I am John Hoche, New York actor and also regular contributor to Comic News Insider.
To both of us, all of us.
Yes.
And I'm Therese Lacson. I'm the entertainment editor for Comics Beat and also the founding editor of Nerdophiles.
Nice.
Well, welcome, Therese. I'm glad you could join us this week. And so,
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So I thought, actually, Jimmy thought that this week we could go inside Fandome. Yeah, beyond Fandome. So,
Right.
So yeah, DC had their big event this weekend. DC Fandome, the most impressive, I will say that right up, of all the virtual cons and that we've had. And they released a ton of content, a ton of news about movies, TV, video games, and even a few comic book things. Thanks for letting us in, guys. And so I know all of you have had a lot of thoughts about this stuff. So let's talk about
get into
Fandome.
It. Yeah, first off, for loyal watchers and new ones, I'm trying a new lighting sequence, so let me know if it works. I know I need a little powder, but so save the comments. A little shiny. I'm Filipino. It's what we do. So but John.
It's all the fried food that we eat.
But yeah,
it's all the lechon.
So Filipino. I have a little Filipino in my family as well.
Filipinos. Excellent. All right. Yeah. Excellent. But yeah, DC Fandome, of course, the giant event that happened, and I just saw the news today. It generated a massive 22 million global views over 220 countries and territories in a mere 24 hours. That's pretty amazing.
Wow. How many? 22 million?
Yeah. That's pretty great. Yeah.
I appreciate the international numbers. That was a very thing that they push, and I like that. I mean,
yeah. I like that they had people like they really involved the fans. They called it Fandome. They got to involve the fans, and they had fans from around the world, with video calls and questions, and from literally everywhere in the world. Either they would appear in video call or their questions were read out by stars. And I thought it was really cool. It's really nice to really involve the fans in the Fandome, of course. So yeah.
Yeah, and I actually really liked how they Jim Lee, I think, actually sat down and modeled, he created the Fandome, and they were all these different, he created halls and stuff, and it was really cool to kind of conceptualize, and then we were able to visualize, and when you entered a panel or something like that, there was a graphic of these big doors opening and you walking into the light and everything, and those were nice touches that I think. When you've got the money to do it, you should do it. I've watched a couple comic conventions online, not just San Diego, this year, and some of them just don't have the bandwidth. Some of them just don't have the creativity, and it's a little tough.
Money, as you said, the money.
Yeah.
Sure.
As I said, and Mike, I did write an analysis piece for The Beat already, and it was just so great.
I read it. Yes.
It was just so great to see people from below the clavicles. It was just like people with bodies that were walking, standing there. I mean, it was just it actually was just exciting to see that, to see people walking around and talking. And so yeah, I mean, I would look. Warner Brothers is the second, or Warner Media, whatever they're calling it now, is the second biggest movie studio. If they were not able to marshal the resources to put together a pretty impressive virtual world, I would have been very sad, and I'm really glad that they pulled it off. From that standpoint, and like you said, showed some creativity and showed the worldwide reach of this, and it was well done.
It flowed really well, I thought. Even they do these little comedy bits in between. Some of them work better than others. The little bits with what was that claymation one they did on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
I love that one. And then, of course, probably my favorite thing was the Harley Quinn Q&A. Oh, my God.
I could have watched like hours of that. Like,
I mean, that could be a
hours
show, yeah.
Of her roasting people.
If you haven't seen Harley Quinn, the animated series, you should. It's very adult and very cursy. And just as that is, Kaylee Cuoco brilliantly voiced her doing a Q&A. Yeah. And it was, she cursed, she made fun of people. Like Chris said, she was roasting people. It was awesome. It was about 4 minutes long. And like, if you haven't seen that one, seek it out. It's hilarious.
I do think like if, when season 3 of Harley Quinn comes out, they should do that as their post show. You know how like The Walking Dead has the Talking Dead and all, and like everyone gets a post show nowadays,
right?
And they should totally just like also spoof post shows by having Harley Quinn just roast.
I'm calling Jim Lee right now. Jim, hey,
awesome.
we got a great idea right now.
Well, you're not too far off. I mean, I will say, to give it a little context, we were chatting about this before we went live. But it was a tumultuous 2 weeks at Warner Media because they had laid off 600 to 800 people throughout the company, and including probably, I think they said it was like a quarter of the staff at DC Comics, DC Entertainment. That's huge. Some beloved industry names, including the editor-in-chief. And I mean, it was throughout the company. Like, they're making cuts, they're slimming the line, and DC Universe got like slammed down,
slashed.
Slashed.
And also for me as an action figure collector, they got rid of DC Direct, which is really
cool. I thought of you immediately. I was like, oh God.
My DC Essentials.
Yeah, I will say that they kept Jim Fletcher, who's the lead guy for DC Direct, the lead designer,
right?
And they kept him on board. So they're going to license it out, and there's lots of boutique toy companies right now. But DC Direct did a great job.
I'm curious. I feel this is obvious. So, like, if there wasn't a pandemic going on, they probably still would have done cuts, but maybe not as many.
Yeah.
You don't know? Maybe.
I don't know. I have a feeling. They would have because. No, you know what? Not as many. You're right. Not as many. Okay. Because AT&T, which owns Warner Media, is carrying a lot of debt right now, and.
Why I pay them enough? Jesus.
The pandemic didn't really help the launch of HBO Max any, did it? So.
Well, HBO Max has its own problems.
Fair enough.
I watch a lot on HBO Max, though. I find I'm watching that more than Netflix now. It's weird. It's
I wish I could watch anything on HBO Max.
I wish I could watch anything on HBO Max. So we'll circle back. Well, you know what? No, because we're just doing a podcast, so I'll just put it in. And every week on the podcast, I complain about the fact that I can't get HBO Max on my Roku. Right?
I have the same issue. I want to watch it so badly, and yet I can't.
So I have an even better issue because I finally realized that when I signed up for HBO Max months ago at a discount rate before it launched, that actually went through. So I've had it since May.
Oh.
Right. But I mean, yeah, right. Oh no. But okay, whatever. I mean, there goes my, $30 or whatever. But but then I thought to myself, oh, well, I'll just sign into my HBO Now on my Hulu because, I'm signed up, right? And it's the same thing.
Nope.
Wouldn't
take the
There's
same
like
thing.
7 HBOs right now, so yeah.
Well, AT&T.
And I have them all.
I love you. I mean, what the... I want to watch your content, and I'm paying for it, and you won't let me watch it. So
I have an Xbox, so that's why I watch everything through that. So yeah.
Yeah, on the
I can watch it through my PS4, I guess.
But
there you go.
On the Amazon Fire Stick, they've even stripped HBO Go. You can't even.
Oh my God!
It's gone. Like they've erased anything of HBO on the Amazon Fire Stick. So.
Well, this wasn't called. Heidi and Therese moaning about HBO Max Dome. So anyway,
but in relation, they did some of the news from Fandome. Said how that the DC Universe streaming app is now going to, most of it or a lot of the content is going to come over to HBO Max, which yay for me. But also, and then the other content, they're figuring out, I guess, some other form to release it. I guess they're talking about the comics and whatever else. So I mean, maybe that's good. I always thought it was weird, like, are they going to combine DCU with HBO Max? But it looks like they're kind of going to do it, which I think is good.
Yeah, I wonder if DC Universe will just be like, oh, it's like, the hub for people who are like comic book fans, where they want to get
I think they said
they want to read the comics.
I think they said they're just getting rid of it, and then they're moving stuff to HBO Max, and then the rest of the stuff they're figuring out what they're going to call it, what they're going to do with it. Maybe they'll still call it DC Universe, which would make sense, and it'll just be comic books, or they could just do what Marvel does and just have it through their website, like comics, subscriptions and things like that. If they don't, or I don't think they do they? No.
Marvel has their own, like, you can get all their comics through Comixology, but they also have a Marvel app.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Directly through.
DC did that, maybe.
I hear they're definitely going to build out. I mean, I don't even have to hear this. They said it, and they're going to build out a lot of their digital comics infrastructure at DC. I mean, they're going big into digital comics, so
awesome.
we will not see. Yeah, DC, their own Comixology apparently. I mean, that is me. I just said that it's not their own Comixology, but they're going to be a huge digital presence. So anyway,
it surprised me. I mean, obviously that's the next path. I don't know.
Well, Therese, it's obvious that if you launch a streaming service in a pandemic, you should cut a deal with Hulu and Fire Stick too. So
I don't want to talk about this because I'm going to get angry. I just want to watch Miyazaki films. Like, come on, guys.
What's funny is that's what's great about HBO Max. Like, I somehow, and I'm a bad Asian, I somehow had never seen any of Studio Ghibli films, and so because they're all HBO Max except for Grave of the Fireflies on Hulu because it's some sort of rights thing.
Oh my god, that is not a movie to watch on any. Like, you have to mentally prepare yourself.
I know.
You know what? We should do that. We should do Grave of the Fireflies for Comic Beat Insider.
Well, I wanted to do all Studio Ghibli ones for this, so I'm halfway through all of them, and then I think my last one I saw was finally Spirited Away. But of course, all brilliant.
Oh my god,
stuff,
the best one. My favorite.
So good, right? Anyway, we should do two separate podcasts. One about complaining about HBO Max, and another one about.
No, I apologize, but it is germane because we're talking about Warner Media.
Right. No.
Yes.
I have some complaints about it. Yeah. So let's go, Heidi. This is yours.
Okay. So, well, anyway, it started out with Wonder Woman. Now, of course, in a happier world, we would already have seen Wonder Woman and be talking about it. And, I was so among the haunting scenes of the pandemic here in New York was that day in April when I went to the CVS in my, PPE gear and saw that the Wonder Woman makeup line had launched in a beautiful standalone display. And I felt so bad for them because, they had this whole marketing campaign and I felt worse for myself. Don't get me wrong. But anyway, we would have seen it now pushed to October, but they released a second trailer and I'm
fucking good. Lightning.
I love it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I was so excited. I was like, it looks amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, Kristen Wiig, I mean, she nailed it.
Okay, the cat CGI had me a little nervous.
That's the only thing I was gonna chime in with that. It's
there
probably not finished.
There was a strong Cats movie vibe to it, and I was a little worried.
Yeah. I was a little
really like everything else, so I was like, it's even if that is bad, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, because
Cheetah Sing Memory would be great.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they still have time to fix
to make it not look like cats.
Yeah, fix the cheetah CGI. I loved her when she's human and she's like all angry and swirl jumping.
Oh yeah, she's got her punk rock look. I'm all about that. Like this look. See, I felt less bad for Wonder Woman getting pushed back than other movies because I was like that. I feel like everybody will want to watch that.
You're gonna have cats.
I would wait till next year. Oh my God, the cats! I will wait as long as necessary, and I want to see it in theaters.
Oh, I can't. I 100%. 100%. I totally agree.
It looks amazing.
I literally have two cats swarming around me right now. Like they love it they do. They just love it when I zoom, and they're both really affectionate right now. Come on, guys, come on. But I mean, both the first trailer with its 80s, New Order music and just the whole vibe of it, the 80s fashion, which just rocked my world. And I gotta say though, the little humor bits between Wonder Woman and Chris Pine, Steve
so
Trevor.
great.
I mean, in the trailers. I mean, I just hope they didn't put it all in the trailer.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes they put all the jokes in the trailer. I hope not, because it's just priceless.
I'm happy that they didn't explain why Chris Pine is still alive in the trailer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everyone has to go see the movie, and they're like, oh well, we have to figure that out. And yeah, he's just so funny. Like he was funny in like Star Trek. Like, you know, I remember in like the first Star Trek movie when his hands started swelling up, and you know, he does comedy so well. So
he really does. He really does.
He's like
just so damn
on the rank of. He's like on the rank of my like top favorite Chris's. Like he's up there. Like Chris Evans also there, but like Chris Pine has always been at the top.
Yeah, Chris Pine's risen through the ranks, I will say, of the Chris's. His Chris rating is a sword, yeah. But
where does Chris Cornell fit in there? Nowhere.
Yeah. Oh, I love Chris Cornell. Yeah, I mean, I will wait, like you said, I will wait for this movie. Takes forever. I will wait.
I can't wait.
And
I was gonna watch it anyway, but when I saw her riding lightning with her freaking
Lasso,
my god, Lasso, I was like, oh, I almost cried.
Like swinging through the air. Oh my god!
And it was so beautiful.
I mean, the good thing, kind of, to my knowledge about the DC movies moving forward, is like, I'm sure they're trying to still kind of connect them, but now they're kind of embracing the multiverse kind of thing. Yes. So they don't have to come out in order. Whereas I think Marvel's kind of shot themselves in the foot, where it's like, yo, if Black Widow doesn't come out, you know, like, I don't even remember what the next one is. Like, might not make as much sense.
It's the Eternals, and that's the other one. Oh.
Well, we can get into. We
can't get into this because it's going to be a whole thing about the Eternals that I feel like.
All right. Well, Therese, definitely now that you know, we're going to have you back on. Obviously, you need to be regular on here. So
there's so many feelings.
I know. Well, since you brought up the multiverse, that was the panel that because that's just Heidi. That's who I am. I'm all about the behind the scenes and the box office analysis. So I had to watch the multiverse panel, which had Walter Hamada, who runs DC Films, Greg Berlanti, the mastermind of DC TV, and Jim Lee. Of course, the guy who runs DC Comics sort of now. And, the three masterminds of the DC universe. And as I quipped on Twitter, it's like, it seemed like Hamada and Berlanti both vying for the role of Reed Richards. I mean, they both had that gray templed nerd vibe going on, so strong. And this was like, the ghost of Julius Schwartz was just like hovering over them, like, oh, you will have a multiverse. And they were, because that's been the thing. As I pointed out in my article, they did not have a panel at San Diego last year. So they have not had a chance to lay out their plan for the DC movie and extended universe, the fake name for it, in 2 years. So this was the first time we'd see, and there's been turmoil. I mean, there's so many, Justice League, the Snyder Cut. I mean, now there's allegations about the making of that film, and obviously turmoil at DC Comics itself, and turmoil with, who's coming, who's going, blah, blah, controversy with the Joker. Anyway, it's been a tumultuous 2 years. So they've had a chance to come out, but how does it fit together?
Well, this is something you sort of mentioned in your article, and John and I talked about this years ago. I think we might have been reviewing one of the DC films, and we both, I remember I brought it up and we were talking about it, about the multiverse works for DC. Don't follow the Marvel. They've done it successfully. Don't follow. Do your own thing. Have some Elseworlds films. They don't have to all interconnect. They can do their own thing. And John and I had this law. It's on the podcast. It's documented somewhere on Comic News Insider. You can hear us talking about it. And we talked about how, like, do your own thing. Like, I would love to see, like, Gotham by Gaslight, Superman Red Sun, things like that.
Yes.
These great Elseworlds stories. Or like something like Joker, I guess, would be considered an Elseworlds story. Yeah. That's great. And like, if they can put them together, because it is multiverse, and like with the Flash movie may do, is, mix them all up and they're together one, great. But if not, I'm okay with it. I don't need a one solid universe thing.
But which is fine. And I guess where I sort of went like, oh my God, was when like you know, they didn't just say, hey, these aren't all the same universe. They were like, we have multiple universes. Yeah. And then they flashed Earth 19 and Earth 94. And then, you know, it ended with a shot of Brandon Ruth as Superman, which was like, that movie, nobody cared. What? You're trying to say that movie about, you know.
Well, that was in Crisis.
Yeah, the Crisis TV show.
That's why it was very on tone with that. So I'm wondering like how long they've had this umbrella idea as opposed to like, well, we just might as well do this. But I appreciate that because it's like, I want all of those things to be in the universe. We don't need to go back to them. We don't necessarily need to revive everything. But I like that it's always, you know, kind of in the area, because I personally really liked that Birds of Prey show from like, I don't know,
back in the day.
Ago. And seeing that was a big deal.
I have it on DVD. It's one season.
Yes, it's so good, but it's like really cheesy, and I still appreciate it.
Is my audio okay? I'm getting a note from the
that's
great.
Yeah, it sounds a little muffled. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just go on with it. But
all right. Out of the 1,000 listeners in the chat room, am I okay? Oh, they say I'm all right, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know if we're jumping around or anything, but
well, I mean, just let's finish the multiverse, because I think that they specifically talked about the Flash movie, which isn't coming till 2022.
Yeah.
But they specifically talked that the Flash would be you know, dealing with the multiverse. And of course, they just had announced that Ben Affleck will be Batman, and Michael Keaton will also be in the Flash movie. So obviously, not only, I mean, it's not just, you know, some multiverse. It's like we're going full Flash of two worlds.
Yeah.
We're going full Flashpoint here. So
that's awesome. Like, that's like what I want. Like, I want it to be as weird as it can be, because why not, you know?
Yeah, that move really feels like they finally kind of were listening to fans, or like actually turned on a computer and like looked on this thing called the internet. Instead of like a business move of like, we're businessmen who want to make money, so we think this is what people want. They like actually were like, oh, well, people love these films. Let's like just find a way to bridge them and put them all together, and, you know, throw enough money at the right like people like Michael Keaton to come back and be Batman again. So
I'm for all of them. Like, yes, bring them all back. And we saw Linda Carter. No, it's not good.
No, try your other one. Yeah, you're worse. Sorry. We're sorry, guys, but, you know, we'd rather you hear what Jimmy has to say, because he's amazing. Just put it back in the other outlet.
I did.
But there we go.
There. Well, that's better than ever.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
Yes.
So, we saw Linda Carter in the Wonder Woman panel appear, you know, and I'm just like, yes, bring her in. Please bring her and put her in there somewhere as something, you know. It'd be great to see. So that'd be awesome. Yes, I'm all for it. I'm all bring in everything. Let's bring them all back from, if any of the guys from the Batman Superman serial still alive, bring them in. Who cares? Whatever, you know, from the 40s and 50s, let's have them on.
Yeah, I agree, though. I mean, I totally agree with that, you know, in order to set themselves, you know, in a different aside from set themselves apart from Marvel, let it all be. You know, this is another concept that was invented at DC Editorial, I believe, by Mark Waid. I'm not sure who invented Hypertime, but it was an editorial concept that all the stories are true. So you don't need to be like, oh, but he wore the blue hat, so how did he have a red hat? So, you know, and you know what? I agree with you guys. You guys, it's let it all be. Let it all, bring Linda Carter, Michael Keaton.
Let it all hang out.
Let it all hang out. Yeah.
Well, I think it's like, it's really helpful for like creators too, that their stuff isn't invalidated. Like, all the other things that existed don't suddenly get erased because there's a new timeline, which I think for a while it seemed like DC films were kind of trying to catch up with Marvel and their whole, like, you know, all their phases, which is like amazing. But a lot of creators from those films have voiced like it's kind of hard to figure out how to like jigsaw like this whole story together. And I think embracing sort of like the weirdness of like a multiverse and like just saying like, hey, yeah, Michael Keaton's Batman, we're bringing him in too. Like, let's bring in Michelle Pfeiffer too. But like, you know, it's like, it's nice to see them in their niche. Oh my God, totally. Yeah. Bring them all. I love Catwoman. Bring every Catwoman onto the scene.
Well, that was, as a kid reading DC Comics, what I really loved every summer, if I remember correctly, Heidi, you could correct me. the Justice League comic would have a 2-part crossover with the JSA. And that's when I first learned about the JSA. I'm like, there's different versions of them. Oh, they look so cool and they're different. And then I started doing at that time I was a DC kid and realized all these other different versions of them. I'm like, I love seeing different versions of the same character, how they act, how they're different, how they're alike. So I'm all for it. I think it's great.
I hate that. I did not like DC Comics as a kid. And
oh my
God. No, it's fine. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I'm. That's why I said, you guys, I'm excited to hear you guys' thoughts on it because for me,
She even worked at DC Comics.
I worked. That's very briefly. Briefly. Okay, so there's a reason for that. But no, it's just I'm a Marvel kid, so. That's just how it is. So that's fine. That's fine. I mean, but I will say again, I want these are incredible characters, like seeing Wonder Woman done right. I mean, a big, Harley Quinn. I mean, we'll talk about the Suicide Squad as well. I mean, I'm totally down for that. So anyway, so just actually, so any more thoughts about the Flash movie? I mean, Ezra Miller's a little bit problematic these days.
Yeah.
But
I'm just excited that they're finally getting rid of that stupid costume because I really didn't like this like weird hard-shelled costume. And
it was so
odd, so the pictures that they're showing where it seems more smooth and like it's gonna kind of, I mean, I kind of gotta
find it, so
what was it?
That's the idea, is that Batman in the universe designed the costume for him.
I mean, but it it looks smooth. It looks closer to like a comic book iteration of the Flash costume. I was nervous. I was a little bit like, are we going into Green Lantern territory here? I was a little nervous that way, but I don't think that's going to happen.
We need a good Green Lantern. One of my favorite characters. We need a Green Lantern.
Well, that'll come. I will say I did not, realize the director, whose name I can't recall, but he's the guy who did It, but it's Italian, and when he came on with his Italian accent, it did flash me back a little bit to the days of Dino De Laurentiis. And so John, I did get that Green Lantern vibe as well a little bit. So, but
Muschietti.
Yes, Muschietti and his wife, who's the producer apparently, and and the screenwriter's a woman. So
yeah, she did Birds of Prey.
Oh,
and
right.
She also did Bumblebee, which is a great movie as well.
And she has such a great voice, and I was like, put her in the film. She seems like she'd be really
right.
Good.
She looked great.
I was like, put her in. She'd probably be a good character. But anyway, it's awesome.
So another good rollout. So then the other big movie, the next big movie was The Suicide Squad. Now, are they really calling it The Suicide Squad?
Yeah. They're
on that note,
it's the season of the.
Yeah. On that note, to Therese's point about how DC was like, letting everything exist and not saying something doesn't exist, or this feels like they're trying to make the first Suicide Squad movie a little irrelevant, though. This is the only.
It's canon. Too bad.
I know. They feel like where they're like, we didn't mean to do that one. Sorry. With the awful Leto Joker character. That one I would like to see not exist anymore. That was awful. I hate
Hashtag Ayer cut. Hashtag Ayer cut.
Yeah. Hashtag Oscar-winning film, Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Oh, God. No. But yeah, so that's the one when I felt like they were trying to, but then James Gunn comes in and it makes it very James Gunn. And you've got all these crazy characters added, like these obscure characters added in that cast. My God.
Who is Flula Borg?
He's a YouTube guy.
He used to be a YouTuber. Like that was his claim to fame.
Oh.
Yeah, my friend Grace and him are really good friends. My friend Grace, you bet, was a big YouTuber. I knew he's hilarious. He's so funny, and like his old YouTube stuff is really brilliant.
I feel like this is a big step for YouTubers too. There are a couple that have made it into like really big mainstream. But like I was like, oh damn, Flula Borg is like in this main cast.
Well,
I mean, this main cast of like 45 people, but still,
he was in one of the Pitch Perfect movies, which I love.
True. Yeah.
He's brilliant. I mean, Idris Elba, my God, playing Bloodsport. Peter Capaldi as the Thinker.
He's joining. Idris is joining the 3-time club now. I think this is his third comic book movie character. So, he might even be up for it. Yeah, because he was in
The
Losers.
I like that movie a lot.
Oh my God, The Losers.
Oh man, when I just hashtag I did the Losers junket.
I just forgot what the other one was.
He was Heimdall.
He was Heimdall.
Oh my God,
you're right.
Jimmy, have you gone blind or something?
No, I'm in DC Fandome right now. So I'm thinking DC only. Losers is DC. So hey, I'm thinking DC. I do wish he did it, and several other people did it too. This is a little side note. I understand why the word was created, I think, for Hollywood to make it sound cool, but I really wish they would stop saying graphic novel and just say comic book. It bothers me so much more than it should. When they're like, it looks like a real graphic novel. It looks like a comic book. It's a comic book. But anyway, that bothers me more than it should. But anyway, but the cast is amazing, for sure. A lot of great people in there.
But you know what I'm thinking though is because the cast is so huge, some of those people are going to die in like the first.
Oh, they're absolutely going to die.
Yeah.
Like I think Javelin is going to bite it real fast.
Well, one of them in the piece, one of them, I forgot who it was. Was it Kinnaman or somebody said like something about like don't somebody not feeling precious to characters. He sort of suggests, I'm like, oh, people are going to die right away. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I think like 4 of them are going to die.
But man,
Sorry, Charlie.
This is the year of King Shark. He's in the Harley Quinn show. He's in this. Great. He's in the video game that we're going to talk about later. King Shark, I'm so excited. Oh, he's been in the Flash and stuff too. But you know, I'm like anthropomorphic. I mean, it's like it gives me Street Shark chills when I'm like, ooh, it's almost like having the Street Sharks on the big screen. So
yeah, Steve Agee doing his. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. So who are you most excited to see in this cast? I mean, there's so many great people.
My God.
I mean, Heidi, I don't know, being a big WWE fan, are you excited for John Cena to be in yet another movie?
Well, I'm excited for him. Like he was so much in character. In the presentation and the promo, I enjoyed that. I got to be honest, I'm a little perverse. I'm most excited for Pete Davidson.
Oh yeah.
Really? I saw that and I was like, that's a choice that they made, I guess. Like, we'll see how it turns out. I haven't seen the movie that he was just in, The King of Staten Island, but I mean, I think that had pretty good, good ratings. So
yeah,
I don't dislike
it'll be interesting.
His stand-up wasn't good. I don't think I saw it in that. But it's like, I like this stuff on SNL. It's like, all right, it's kind of one note, but he's kind of funny. He's young, he'll grow into it, but his stand-up was not funny. That's what I was like.
I agree.
Quirky, he's weird. He's in the news a lot. He's going to get work, and sure enough, he is.
Yeah,
I mean, the movie was great. The one that he did with.
I mean, Pete Davidson was just like the funny young cast member on Saturday Night Live, and then he became so much more. But I'm just excited to see him. Grande. Yes, to join to join the comic book movie universe. Now he can never. What is done can never be undone. Yeah. So he is among us.
And, I mean, I'm excited just like for more Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Yes. I think I said it last time, but she's the Hugh Jackman of the DC universe.
Wow.
Yeah.
She is.
She's the only good thing in the first movie.
Listen, this might be a hot take, but I actually kind of enjoyed the first movie. Like, for what it was, I went in there with very, very little expectations because those trailers were cut really well, and I was like, there's no way this is actually that good because I have been very suspicious of Jared Leto for a very long time, and all of my suspicions are basically correct. Yeah. But that was like, it wasn't a bad movie. Like, I feel like there's a lot of negative feelings about it, but like, it's fun. Like, if I'm like, drinking and like chilling with friends, like we can turn it on and laugh at it. Like, don't take it so seriously, guys.
No, I'll jump on that bandwagon though, because if you're like busy and you need to like clean your apartment and you turn on Suicide Squad, the first one, you'll see the good scenes and then you'll walk away when it sucks and then you'll just clean your apartment,
I mean,
also, I enjoyed their soundtrack, so.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I'm one of those ones who tends to like a lot of my friends. You like everything, and except for Iron Fist, the worst thing in the world. But that's another thing. But I just didn't. I know there were some good things in Suicide Squad. It just didn't really get me. I didn't really like it.
Jimmy, hold on one second. I'm just gonna say, like, your mic cord is shorting out because now it sounds better, but it's very tinny. I would just pull it out and put it in again.
I just did.
Okay. Yeah, it's all right. Well, I'm sorry, listeners. I'm just going to have to warn Jimmy to jiggle with his
There's
plug.
nothing I can do. I mean,
yeah, there's nothing you can do at this point. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, you're good. I just don't want you to be.
I just do this.
Yeah, I just don't want you to be inaudible. You know, so
I'm sure
Joe.
some people want me to be inaudible.
Well.
But,
not there yet. So just before we move on for the Suicide Squad, I will say, yes, this looks great. You know, sometimes when a filmmaker gets all of their friends together to make a movie, the result is unwatchable. What's that John Huston? What was that John Huston movie that had everybody in it from like the 60s? Everybody from like Humphrey Bogart. I forget. Anyway, the big part, it was like The Party or something like that. So bad. Or possibly Ocean's 79, Ocean's 13, whatever that last one. So anyway, James Gunn, don't get too comfy.
Well, okay. Some of the ones I can watch Idris Elba read the phone book, so I'm excited to see him. He's great. But some, like I don't know. I like Nathan Fillion. I've sort of my shine has sort of gone off of him over the years because I do feel like he sort of plays the same thing. That's what I was, he sort of plays the same thing a lot, and he's great.
And seeing him,
but
it was like it seems like he's just gonna play Nathan.
He's gonna play Nathan, exactly. Yes.
Which is it feels like a lot of these people, like a lot of the cast members, are just gonna play like a extreme version of themselves, which is like not necessarily bad, could also be disastrous.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I do think that Nathan Fillion might be one of the people who dies. Really soon.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah.
Just because
so who do we think? We think Nathan Fillion. I think probably Flula.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson. He was only gone for a week from Saturday Night Live.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, Ratcatcher too, maybe. Because all these small characters will probably be out. Yeah.
So
anyway,
a
couple other movies we could talk about for sure.
Yeah. What else? What else?
The Batman.
As all our eyebrows go up.
I mean, just a little.
Did anybody watch the leaked trailer before it came out? Because I am guilty of that.
I don't know if I did or not. I guess I didn't.
Was it the same trailer?
Yeah, it was the same. It just leaked, and it was like I started it and I paused it, and I went back to it, and it was already gone.
Wow.
So I watched like the first minute and a half, and then I was like, I'm just gonna wait. But it did things to me, to my soul. That I.
So Therese, you tweeted quite a bit about the Batman trailer. So let's hear your take on it.
My take is that it looks absolutely amazing. There are some people that I'm realizing are not a fan of the Nolanverse Batman, which I find absurd because I love that version, but I love all Batmans. Like,
same.
Maybe Ben Affleck is a little bit lower on the list, but I love all Batmans and George Clooney as well. But I like George Clooney as well. So I was really excited to hear Robert Pattinson was casted for this because he is like a great actor. Like he is undoubtedly a very, very great actor, and I think he has already successfully shaken like Twilight off of him, but I think people still associate him with that film.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't really judge him for that because it was like a paycheck, and also it like raised him to superstardom. Yeah. So I was really excited. The casting, I think there was some talk about Russell Crowe being in it or somebody like being in it. I'm not really sure, but I mean, it looked fantastic, and the way it was cut and the way it was just presented was kind of like in a serious, darker tone, which is like I think really beneficial for Batman sort of stories. It can be kind of goofy and colorful and bright, and it can also be like dark and like grim, but also like serious in tone. So I mean, I'm super excited for it. Like, there's nothing that will stop me from watching it. Also, Zoe Kravitz again as Catwoman, my favorite character. Super excited for that. I cannot wait, and I think she's gotten a little flack for it, so she does not deserve it. She
doesn't. Yeah. No, John and I are huge Batman fans as well. So like I have a Batman tattoo. Oh my god, it's like I've never wanted to be like, oh, when someone is casting something, I'm always like, oh, they're gonna suck. I'm always like, oh, I'll give him a chance. I wasn't not excited for Robert Pattinson. I was just like, oh, that's a curious choice. And but then I was like, okay, and I like him. I think he's a really good actor as well. And he's definitely has kind of shaken that little Twilight off of him, that those sparkles and glitter. And but he looked amazing. I mean, just that scene where he's beating the crap out of that dude. I'm like, holy shit.
When he said vengeance, I screamed.
Like beating him as he's down. I'm like, yes, that's Batman. And it did these little glimpses you see of like the other Paul Dano and like the Riddler, and then Colin Farrell. Like that's Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, not Russell Crowe. Wrong guy.
That makeup. Holy crap!
Yes,
he looked amazing. And Jeffrey Wright, another one I can watch read anything. That dude is one of the. I had the privilege of seeing that dude perform on stage in Top Dog Underdog, and like that dude is the consummate actor. That he's so good. And I can't wait to see his Gordon. And that voice, I had forgotten who the voice was. I was like, oh, that's Andy Serkis is Alfred. That's right.
Yep,
I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot. I had to look it up.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this makes Andy Serkis like a 7 or 8 timer, doesn't it? I mean,
something.
Andy Serkis could be in anything. Honestly, he is like he's so he can do so many things.
You know, it's just a sidebar. I watched the second season of Con Man. And, you know, they have the guy who's the motion capture teacher. And so, you know, Andy Serkis can play anything. So, but, yeah. John, what excited you?
For me, like, you know, like I'm excited just for another vision of Batman. Like, you know, it's another take. And that's the great thing about Batman is, and, you know, they said that like a lot of this is going to be a mystery, and we're going to really embrace Batman being a detective in this movie finally, and it has a lot to do with The Long Halloween, which is one of my, I think it was like when I started getting back into comic books, like The Long Halloween was like something I like was like, this is awesome, and I would like recommend it to everyone. So I'm really excited that that's kind of the basis for the movie. Yeah, I'm excited for like the thing that really kind of annoyed me was like, you know, like I go on social media after the trailer premieres and everyone's like, oh, I can't, they're never going to make a Batman movie where I can take my kid to anymore. Or someone was like, someone said, oh, you know, Gotham just, you know, they just ended Gotham. Why are they making a movie version of it? And I was like, guys, what like, you're literally just trying to get tweets. Like, you know, like, it's like, I don't understand. Like, I mean,
cold takes, sir.
Yeah, but also like, you know, it's like the trailer premiered and you're like, I'm in. You know, I can't. I was just like, holy crap! I was like, and it's not even done filming.
No,
like that's just what they filmed so far.
No,
like quarter of the film looks amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
and
Matt
that Batmobile, oh my God.
That's really cool. Matt Reeves said something like, it's not year 1, but it's like year 2, which I'm like, that's kind of cool. That's cool. So we're not actually getting the origin over again, which we've seen a million times, where it's sort of a little further on, you know, where he's just sort of found himself. Yeah. So, which is great.
I'm down with a year 2 take. I'm not interested in seeing another year 1 take. You know, I don't know. You know, we did a whole 2-hour episode about Batman. And we talked all about it. So I'm here for this movie. I'm not excited about the movie. I've never been excited about a Batman movie since Batman Returns. Okay. Wow. And
Batman Returns is one of my favorite Batman movies.
Well,
of all time.
That was the one that we all actually picked as our. Didn't we all pick Batman Returns as our favorite? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
So
Catwoman's like her Selena Kyle in her apartment as my banner header for Twitter, and I will never change it.
Oh, nor should you. Nice. So yeah, but look, you know what? It looked great. And again, I'm kind of here to be like, you know, seeing all you guys so excited about this is getting me excited, you know? So I'm happy you guys liked it. And, you know, for me, I don't have a personal investment in the Batman universe. That's just how I've always been. Right. And, you know, my favorite Batman was, as we discussed, because I'm so old, it was the Adam West Batman. So, because I like things that are colorful and goofy. So I'm super excited for the Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman 84.
So should we move on to the big controversial maybe one?
Oh, yes. Well,
Justice
because,
League,
yes.
The Snyder Cut.
So just to set this up a little bit, as you know, so I did, you know, in the multiversal, hypertimal new view of all of this stuff. So I guess the idea is that, you know, the Joker is a different universe, and this is, you know, the Michael Keaton was another universe, all right. But I mean, they do kind of want to have a mainstream universe, and you know, except in the dark heart of this universe is a period of a year and a half where Batman versus Superman and Justice League came out, and you know that painful flaw can never be in the heart of the gem will forever
See, this is where I like things. I like them. I didn't love them, but I like those films.
Well, I mean, Batman v Superman was just silly, but I mean, Justice League was fine. I mean, it was harmless. It was likable. It just, you know, and it's one of the most, you know, if we want to talk about misunderstood films, we should go rewatch Justice League because, you know, what I guess we will because Snyder Cut is coming.
Yes.
Oh, we're going to soon.
We're going to watch 4 hours of it. Yes. Which is, I think, a great thing, kind of a cool thing. Instead of like just being this, like, it's going to be this overblown director's cut, kind of, but he's well, I'm splitting it up into 4 1-hour episodes. I'm like, okay, so it's like a little mini series. I'll take it. That's cool. So 4 1 hour. Then he said something at the end. Snyder was like, and then maybe we'll figure out a way to put it all together. I'm like, you need it as a 4-hour movie. I'm like, just keep it as a 4 separate things. It's fine. We can watch them in a row, you know?
The person who has watched a lot of Bollywood films 4 hours is basically like typical for them. So it doesn't surprise me. That panel, I was a little more put off by Snyder's tone. Like, I'm not going to watch his cut of the film, but he had a very like I'm the best. Like, I think he literally asked a fan, "Why do you like me so much?" And I was like, "Oh wow, nobody reeled you in with the questions."
So
here. Like, okay.
So do you guys, though? I mean, the biggest controversy over the trailer was the fact that they used "Hallelujah" again, which you already used in Watchmen.
Learn a new song, dude.
Now,
but
do you think he was trolling us or something?
No, maybe. I didn't think about that.
I don't think he knows how to troll people.
I don't know. I think he's got claws and he knows how to use them. I think.
Yeah, I think
I was like, why is this song? Why are we doing this again? Why we need to kibosh this song being in any trailer from now on?
Yeah,
I think like I was never a Snyder cut. Like, we need the Snyder cut. Because again, I liked the movie, but I was curious. So like, oh, well, I'm curious what he has to say. And I gotta say, the trailer looks really good. I liked it, and I was like, okay. And I know there's been a lot of controversy, obviously, with going to Joss Whedon, with Ray Fisher mentioned there was some toxicity on the set, which was surprising to me, knowing Joss and his work, things like that. But hey, I believe
less surprising to me.
Yeah, I was like, okay. So and then I saw, like we said, why is Snyder acting like maybe like I'm the best? Because I think he's been putting things out in tweets. Like, he saw recently where he said something about like the Superman line, and he's like, that makes no sense. He would never say that. What was the line? Oh my god, do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it the S in the river and the whatever weird thing? Something.
Oh god.
So do you know what happens to a toad when lightning hits it?
No. The bleeds. Do you bleed line? Where Superman asked Batman, "Do you bleed?"
Oh, he's a
right. Yeah. And so a fan asked him that on Twitter, and Snyder was like, "That makes no sense. I would not have that in my movie." I was like, "Oh snap! Oh damn!" So he's digging at Joss's cut for sure.
Well,
I think that's probably why part of which he should, because he wants his cut. It's his movie, basically. Joss just came in to sort of clean it up and do whatever.
I will say there was a little bit of, and there's nothing. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with this if it was true, but we've alluded to, Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg, has leveled accusations against both Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns that he wasn't treated fairly, and we do know a lot of his part was cut out of the movie. And so when they asked Snyder, what's a little bit of a loaded question, like, what character are you most excited to see? He's like, Cyborg.
They were all loaded questions.
Right, they were all loaded questions. And, we're not unexcited to see Cyborg. Absolutely. I mean, the character absolutely got short shrift.
It was underrepresented.
In Batman v Superman, when they did the little intros of the Justice League characters, very briefly, it was great. I mean, I loved those little teasers, and Cyborg's was really disturbing and really powerful, and I wanted to find out more about Cyborg. So yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of things kind of coming together here, and absolutely some animus. And I will say this for Snyder, the reason given for him leaving the movie was a horrible family tragedy.
Absolutely.
And, I don't think we should forget about that either. Yeah. I'm sure was not easy for him to go through in any way. And so, he's definitely taken a victory lap now. Will
yeah,
he?
and he should. Why not?
He should, sure. Will he be doing
I
that?
would just say, like, from like a viewer's point of view, I would be a little bit less like doing victory dances during the lap and more like doing victory dances after you see reactions. He's
Fair
very
enough,
much
sure.
like
Yes.
building the hype, which I would say you should lower hype whenever you can, because everybody will just think like, oh, it's not that, it's whatever, and then they'll see it and it'll be like, oh my god, never ever hype it up unless you are 100% guaranteed for sure that it's going to be good, because
Like,
things will always fail.
I mean,
I guess to be
it
fair,
might though. You never know. He might
Yeah.
be like, you have no idea what you're in for, and it's awesome. Who knows? I mean, I guess we have to.
I've seen
it's wait to
Snyder's
see, I
films,
guess.
so I kind of have an idea. So.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
It's also DC Fandome, so of course.
Hallelujah, we're getting a Snyder cut.
But here's the thing: I've never been a Snyder hater. I mean, I love, when he first came out with his remake, his zombie remake, and then I'm one of the few that actually like Sucker Punch.
No, I love that movie. I've got the director's cut. I watch it regularly.
I like Watchmen. It's like I've never been. My only thing though, I thought they started making a misstep was Man of Steel. I just felt like I was like, okay, this is not the Superman I expected or I feel should be. So that was when I felt like it was sort of a misstep. But then, yeah, I'm not a hater, a Snyder hater.
I liked Man of Steel. I thought it was a perfectly acceptable movie. So
I mean, Superman. It wasn't Superman though. It was like maybe an alternate. I don't know. It just
say it was better than Superman Returns, and that's all I care.
I just wanted one scene where Henry Cavill, Superman, during the fight where they're literally destroying Metropolis. One scene where he just goes, "I've got to get him out of the city." But no, let's just keep destroying the city.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have Batman v Superman.
Yeah, that's right. The whole movie's about canceling Superman.
Yeah.
But he still could have Batman still could have been pissed off. Like, well, you ruined half the city till you got him out of here, But So still, anyway, that's another. But
So what else? So all right. So that was the main stuff. So what else? There was TV. There was so much else in fandom.
There's also The Rock.
Oh, The Rock. The Rock. That's right.
There wasn't
that was an odd presentation. What was it? Or is that just me?
Well, nothing's filmed. Nothing shot. Like, it's barely written yet. But when you have the highest grossing paid actor in Hollywood for 3 years in a row, you got to use him.
Who's also been begging to play this character literally probably for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to see Dwayne Johnson talk about the film. I just felt the animatics with his face was sort of like an odd thing they did. Again, I know nothing shot.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, I guess they're just showing us sort of the.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
storyboard thing.
It was a mood board. It was a mood board.
I guess it just seemed a little. I'm like, I'd rather just see him talk about it. I don't know.
But
it had like a strong tone of like he's very excited about it, and he wanted to like. You can tell. Like I was like, oh, he seems like very into this. So
he's like, I'm taking over DC, and I'm taking everyone with me.
That's right. I love him.
But the cool thing is, in the movie, apparently we're getting Hawkman, Dr. Fate.
Yes. Dr. Fate. I'm so
Adam Smasher, and what's the girl's name? I don't remember.
Bell or
no? It's like Circe or something.
Oh, well, Circe then, I guess. I don't remember.
She's a redhead.
There is a Circe character, but
it might be her then. So we're getting those. We're getting the Justice Society, which is exciting.
Yeah, which I love. He's from JSA, so yeah. Again, Rock's another one I'll watch too. I know you're a huge fan of The Rock, John. But I love him, that dude. And I also hear he's one of the nicest people in the world. Like on set, he goes around and greets everybody every day and is the nicest person. So to see someone like him succeed and do what he wants and be so excited about it was really fun to watch.
Yeah. And, and his enthusiasm, I'm sure, will be as infectious as it's, so.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I thought the motion comic, which Jim Lee made pains to tweet about, who
I know, I saw that.
But there was a lot of artwork that was created for Fandome, and I noticed that Jim Lee went out and tried to name as many people as possible, which I thought
that was cool.
It was very classy of him, and very very needed, I think, to remind AT&T that people made I made it,
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, I think considering that they had no footage, nothing, no tests, no concept art. I think.
Well, they announced. They said that he had that conversation with Noah Centineo, who is going to play Adam Smasher, I think.
Yeah.
And that was it was in comparison to I think Aquaman, which came right after.
Right.
This conversation felt a little bit more like casual and just like bros talking about working out, which I was like, I'm fine with. I like both of these people, so I'll listen to them work out. I was less enthused by James Wan and what is his name? Patrick
Wilson. Patrick Wilson, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, like that was kind of a weird conversation. But like in comparison, it was like it was like night and day in like casualness.
Yeah,
I did like that more. I like the conversations more. Like I said, while they were fun, the Wonder Woman panel and the Suicide Squad where they just played games and they sort of just talked.
I like that a lot, Squad,
that was fun. But I almost would rather have heard them talk a little more about the film. As well, Same. You know what I mean? But again, they could, like, that's the thing.
They can't. And also, I think, like, at this point in time, you know, like, I mean, I think, you know, they could have had The Rock talk to somebody, like, you know, at San Diego Hall H, you know, like, they know how to do those panels so well. And a lot of times it'd just be like, and starring as Blade, you know, and they bring him out.
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali. And then, woo, you know, that's, that someday. But I think I don't like motion comics, but I just thought, you know, put together the concept. By the way, just a little note. Did you notice, Jimmy, I think he's a mutual friend, but that Glenn Dillon is working on these DC movies.
He's been working on the Batman films for a while.
Yeah, he's doing the Batman. Yeah. He did the Batman and he's getting like better and better credits. Glenn Dillon.
He did Star Wars.
He did Solo and Rogue One.
I just saw him at Thought Bubble in November, and we hung out. And I interviewed him about it, and he mentioned that, like, I've got something coming up with some Batman stuff, and I'm like, right on.
So, you know, he's a cartoonist, of course, the brother of my dear friend, the late Steve Dillon, just one of the nicest guys, and
but his comic work is incredible. The Now of Brown, if you haven't read the Now of Brown, the award-winning The Now of Brown, seek it out. It's incredible. But he's working more in films now, so
but anyway, I was just, you know, I was pleased that somebody who's so talented that we know who's awesome was getting his work put out in front of everybody. So like
for sure. Did you notice how the product placement throughout the DC Fandome? State Farm got some good fucking product placement, man. Like, fucking Jake was all over the place. I was like, what is happening? It was almost like that scene in, like, you know, in Wayne's World, where they're like blatantly just like eating Pizza Hut pizza and Pepsi, drinking Coke, or whatever like that. It was just like, that's odd. And nobody talks about Jake from State Farm was replaced by another actor.
What?
Just randomly. No, the original Jake from State Farm was this white dude, remember?
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then they pushed this other guy.
Well, more than one. They actually have them appear. There can be multiple Jakes. Multiverse.
This is the multiverse.
Multiverse.
All Jakes exist.
State Farm is in the DC multiverse.
And what was funny, they actually made fun of themselves in one of those commercials where they had them both appear in a commercial together. It was like, all right, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair enough.
Yeah, you know,
anyway, that was kind of funny, I thought.
Just an observation, by the way. You know, back in the heyday of magazines, I don't know if anybody was around then, but every magazine on the back page would have an ad from Absolute Vodka.
Mm-hmm.
Because vodka had, right? Yes, and they put out a book because the vodka tastes the same. And so, you know, advertising among vodka brands was so fierce to just, you know, create a vibe. So what vodka ads were to magazine publishing in the 90s, insurance is to television of the 20s, because
was making millions.
Every other anyway, we should, you know, like, and I mean, there's ones that I like, and, you know, some of my
this podcast not sponsored by State Farm.
Not sponsored by State Farm, but it's like, you know,
but if they want to sponsor us,
you know, I mean, there's so many, you know, from Geico Caveman on. Oh my God! So, but anyway, back to the Fandome. So, what else did you guys like from the Fandome? I mean, they had video games.
Games. Let's talk that.
Yeah,
video games.
Yes, so
I'm super excited for that Rocksteady game. Like,
yes,
so we had two. We had Gotham
Knights
or the Gotham Knights.
We had Gotham Knights and we had the Suicide Squad one, right?
Yeah, Suicide Squad is Rocksteady. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
Rocksteady one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The Rocksteady one was later in the day, which I think was just. I didn't see any of the presentation for Gotham Knights. I just saw like the gameplay, which looked okay. But I'm like, I really like the Rocksteady games, except for Arkham Knight, which made me drive way too many times, and I don't like that in a game. But
isn't that the one that's not by Rocksteady? Or is that
no? It's the one after Arkham City.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that one. I'm pretty sure that one is by Rocksteady because I was like looking it up to see which people had betrayed me with the driving.
Who to blame?
Yeah, I was not a fan, but it looks great, and I like that it's set in Metropolis. So I'm excited for that, and the like Suicide Squad looks really fun. Although I don't like co-op, so we'll see how that goes.
So I think both. Yeah, I'm super excited for both these games. I thought the trailers were incredible. My thing is like I have to get a next gen console. No, like I have to get a PS5,
PS5
or whatever the Xbox is called.
One X 12QP. I don't know.
Yeah, because they're not coming out for what I have.
I think it'll be eventually like I have to like get a PC because I don't want to get any more consoles. Like
well, that's it. I'm a casual gamer at best. I'll buy games a year after they came out. Like I bought, the last game I finished was Red Dead Redemption 2 that I bought a year after it came out.
So good.
But it was great. I loved that. I had a great time playing it. But I just sort of casually play. I've recently picked back up Black Flag, Assassin's Creed, even though again I bought it probably a year after it came out, just because my friend was playing it on his Twitch. I'm like, I want to pick that up again. But I mostly have my Xbox for streaming, for all the streaming stuff, and Disney Plus, HBO Max, Netflix, YouTube, whatever. So I don't know if I picked these games. Didn't excite me to pick them up. I liked the look of them. The first look of the Suicide Squad game was like, okay, it's repetitive gaming. But then when you got to the end where Superman appears, you're like, oh, okay, now I'm in. I get it. I see what's up. They're gonna fight the Justice League, which is great. Yeah. I think they want to kill Superman. And the Gotham Knights, the trailer for it, the little movie thing was amazing. But then the gameplay again looked a little sort of like repetitive, kind of similar. Yeah. But it looked fun, so I'm open to giving it a shot. But when I watched the gameplay, I was kind of like, okay, it just seems a little, I don't know. It looked great though. They both look really good.
I definitely think the Suicide Squad one took like a good like new direction in going to Metropolis and like kind of boosting the colors and making it feel a little like taking a step away from Batman, which is like I don't ever want to, but also I'm glad that we did that. And like it feels a little bit kind of like a lot of like multiplayer games that exist now. Like it had that definite vibe. Like you could see that in the way that they styled the trailer. But I think they didn't do any gameplay, did they? No, I don't think they did. It was just a trailer. So I want to wait and see what the gameplay looks like and see like how I feel about it. But I definitely think I'll play it because I've played all the other games. So
John, you're gonna pick them up both, you think?
Again, it's like I have to first decide if I want to shell out more money and buy the next generation of consoles first.
Well, maybe if you're a good boy for Christmas, maybe Santa will bring you something.
Santa's coming, John.
Maybe Santa really Jimmy will send you something.
Yeah, I also have a moldering PS3 sitting here, and I don't play games. I play only one or I avoid games because I've become obsessed. I'm a Marvel Strike Force girl right now.
There it is.
Yeah, that's and boy do I anyway, and Pokemon Go. So, but the trailers look great. But they look like really strong games, great franchises, and a lot of people be taking up a lot of time playing them
for sure.
So,
I mean, honestly, games are a big time sink. Like,
yeah.
I really, really like the game, but like I've literally sunk like 300 hours into Skyrim, like over my time.
Wow,
like
impressive.
It's just like, I mean, it's really bad for me. Like,
yeah.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, maybe I should put that away because sometimes I'm in a mood and it'll just be like the mood extends for 2 weeks. So.
Yeah.
Well, like I finished Black Flag a year ago. And the only reason I picked it up like literally last week is my friends have playing it on Twitch. I'm like, I should go back and play. And
open world games are dangerous.
And I went in just so I could like just sink ships. Like, this is fun. I'm gonna go crash.
Yes,
and
it's
I
fun.
literally found myself 2 hours later. I'm like, I just been sinking ships for 2 hours. That's
all
I'm doing.
That's awesome. The only game I play is Diablo 2. Diablo 3. And I played that nonstop for about 2 years, and
it's fun.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then but at the start of the pandemic, my quarantine, I was like, oh, I guess I'll play a lot of Diablo. And then I played Diablo 2. I went back and started playing that again. And then I was like, because Diablo Immortal is coming, a Diablo game for mobile devices, and then followed by Diablo 4. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to save myself. I'm going to take a break and be ready.
Yeah.
So,
I think the next one for me is the Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I may not buy it when it comes out right away, but just maybe again, it just looks at those games are really fun. So I think maybe
played Assassin's Creed in a long time, but those are like some of my favorite games. Like I got
I've only
into
played 2 of them,
really serious gaming through like Assassin's Creed. So maybe I'll pick that up and see how they've changed like gameplay, because for many years it was like every single year basically the same game. So we'll see how Valhalla plays out.
Well, that's why Black Flag, because I picked up Black Flag first, because I was like, all my friends were playing all the Assassin's Creed games, and I was like, they go try that one, and it's such a different game.
Was very different,
so
compared to
because all the ship play, all the like be able to ship play. And then I went back and got like Syndicate, the British one, which was fun because I love England. So I was like, I'll be right on the streets of London.
Oh yeah, I haven't played
and then but Valhalla looks so different. It looks so fun, and I'm a big Vikings fan anyway. So yeah. Anyway, we're way off topic. Sorry.
I know we are. So DC.
I know. Yeah. So, oops. Hold on. Somebody just got. There's a fire here, so I don't know if you guys can hear that, but
they actually did talk a little bit.
Excuse me, guys. Gotta go.
Just keep your Zoom on. We'll keep going now. Well, they actually talked about a couple of comics things here, and probably the most exciting one, especially for me, I was a huge Milestone fan. They talked about Milestone comics finally coming back.
Yeah.
Finally coming back. I still have my Milestone collection. After I sold my comics years ago, I kept different runs, and I kept my entire Milestone collection. I have almost every Milestone comic, I think, except for maybe the last year of them. But I'm so excited for this.
Yeah. Me too. And, look, they gave Jim Lee very, very prominent. He was in every other panel, and
he was in the Harley Quinn video. Yeah,
he was there. And he was constantly referenced as the front. He's the new Stan Lee, I guess, his cousin Stan. But they didn't really talk. Now there's going to be a second day of Fandome in September in a couple weeks, and
September 12th.
September 12th, and they have 100 more panels. So Therese will be ready for that with our coverage. But they did have the one DC Comics panel that was to re-announce Milestone, and great choice, very, very good choice. Obviously it's been long awaited. They didn't really, they announced that there will be a static graphic novel
movie.
Well, there's a movie possibly in the works, which no brainer. Do it. But a graphic novel's coming, written by Reginald Hudlin with art by Kyle Baker, the great Kyle Baker, which got me really excited. And a new static series coming with now artists announced. It's a little funny, but and then that Hardware is coming back also, and so. And they'll be releasing them digitally, which, we haven't done a comics only episode of this in a long time, but boy, if we do, digital will be the topic, because
well,
none of the digital comics.
Right.
Yeah,
none of the Milestone comics have been released. The old ones have been released digitally ever. So they announced that they're finally going to release the old ones digitally, which I'm stoked for, because I would like to have them digitally as well as I have them digitally.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. It was a nice moment. And they had Reginald Hudlin, Dennis Cohen on there, and
our good friend Mark Bernardin.
Was moderating
the panel.
So yeah. Now I will say. They're bringing it back in February, which is Black History Month. So I guess that's what you do. But, as we like to say at the Beat, every month is Black History Month. Don't forget. Okay. So, keep it going. But, that was great. That was a great comics announcement. So,
they did sort of mention. Well, they did. No, they not sort of did. When the Sandman thing came up,
that's
right. With Neil Gaiman, but they did everything Sandman. They mentioned the comics that G. Willow Wilson on. They mentioned the audio book. They mentioned the upcoming Netflix series, and that was really interesting to sort of watch and hear about all the different aspects of Sandman. And Neil Gaiman was great, mentioning all the other current writers out there besides G. Willow Wilson was on there. It was like, and Suspiria, of course, is who are doing the other book, and so that was really kind of cool to see. And here are the behind the scenes and a lot of
stuff. And there was one other big announcement that I think might have been before, because Warner's did put out a lot of PR just before Fandome, but that there will be a TV series on HBO Max set in the universe of the Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
And
right.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it was.
Well, that's
going to be. I believe it's going to be a prequel. Up to the movie, or it's supposed to be like the year before the movie happens, or something.
But who's going to be in it?
Yeah,
maybe it's just like kind of like what Gotham was
podcast recently.
But
more serious tone to it, though. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, they already did Gotham. They already did Pennyworth.
But Gotham was, I loved, it was ridiculous. Like it was very campy. It was very that, but I loved it. I think has a more serious
for the camp though.
Yeah.
It was fun. Like
great.
that was a fun
Gotham.
show.
I loved Gotham. Yeah, for sure.
Also mentioning Pennyworth, they announced that Lucius Fox is going to be a character in Pennyworth for the next season. So that's kind of cool.
I love Pennyworth. It was really fun.
Oh, and they did also announce that John Ridley will be doing a 4-issue run on Batman that focuses on Lucius Fox's son. So it's going to be the first Black Batman. And this was part of, crossing some, doing a little detective work here. This was part of that long ago, DC G5 thing that there was going to be where there was going to be young versions of all the characters, and they removed Dan DiDio and 5G. But I guess the idea of John Ridley, Oscar-winning screenwriter, very well known, and author. I wrote The American Way, which is a comic I really love, so good. And having him do a 4-issue brief run on Batman, another great idea. So
I want to real quick go back to Sandman, just because they said about. Of course, they asked about the Netflix series, and of course, Neil couldn't say much, but he did reveal this. He said, as in the comic, issue 1, we have everything starts in 1916. That's still going to happen. He goes, but like in the comic where it was 1988, instead of the Netflix series, it's going to be now. Instead of a period piece.
Yeah.
So he was talking about how it's going to change the story. The characters could be gender, nature, whatever like that.
I spoke with him to promote the audiobook, and he mentioned the Netflix. I don't think he announced anything new. He mentioned that he actually talked pretty extensively about Netflix, which was like it's going to be a lot more reimagined, a lot more in line with how he would have written Sandman, or he would have imagined
like
Sandman.
Today, right?
Yeah, today, as opposed to back in
88,
or something. Yeah, like a while back when he was imagining it in his 20s. But I mean, any opportunity for Neil Gaiman to talk is perfect. He's the best interview person. He's great to transcribe because he's at a nice, slow tone with no he's like.
I'd be the worst.
That is the ideal transcription person. I want everybody to speak through Neil Gaiman.
This is why I do a podcast. No transcribing.
Oh my gosh.
So great. What else was there? Did we? I'm sure we missed something, but they gave a title to the new Shazam movie. Oh yeah, which was also sort of a non-panel.
Yeah.
That was a fun panel, though. It was cool to see them all interact and people popping in, and
but nothing could be said. Yeah.
Yeah, it was well, you can't say anything, and I'm I accept that. So.
Yeah. That's cool.
Heidi, we can't hear you if you're speaking.
I think she's just taking pictures.
Yeah, no, I see what happened. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Well, we call this the audio oops episode. Yeah. So,
awesome.
So I was going to say that. Look, I think there were a lot. It was AT&T, Warner Media, DC Entertainment, definitely was at a low point for DC Fandome. Okay, and I'm sure morale is still very tough around the offices because, a lot of people are leaving. Yeah. They don't have to leave until November 15th, but, it's a very tough place. And I don't want to downplay that. I don't want to play, just because they had a glitzy event doesn't mean that people didn't lose their jobs. But to be, business oriented, I will say it was a very well executed event that made everybody feel very good about the future of the DC universe, that showed that they do have a plan, that they do have really good people who care behind the scenes working on it, and so it was very, very successful at achieving what they set out to do. I think.
I agree. Yep, totally. And I look forward to the September 12th one where they'll probably cover more comics. So that's cool. Very cool.
And also. From what I've been talking to some other people about, New York Comic Con coming up, about the virtual cons, which are springing up everywhere. You know what? They really raised the bar for virtual events.
Yes, they did. Yeah,
not definitely. That everybody, has the budget.
Well, no one has that money, exactly.
Yeah, nobody has that money. But you know what? It's not rocket science either. I mean, even if you can't get all 47 members of the Suicide Squad cast. I mean, you can create some of the kind of environments that they.
Well, even like the way that they set up the like little Zoom cast and how everybody, like for the Wonder Woman one, everybody had the same background. Like that just like immediately made it seem a lot more professional and a lot more like I don't think that takes a lot. Like that's like mail everybody a poster that they can just put on their wall. Yeah. You know, that's like not exactly a high budget thing. You know, like this, like
for sure.
Yeah, that's.
But I like on the other side of things. I am surprised that Marvel's been pretty quiet. Like, you know, like they're just kind of letting DC do this fandom thing.
They might drop something. You never know.
That's I'm surprised we didn't get any like surprise trailers for any of the movies
that day exactly of DC Fandome. Just to be petty, like
you know, like day, I expected some sort of like, you know, all of a sudden something is now available on
Black Widow is out right now.
I mean, I wouldn't put it surprise them. It's like, like just for this weekend you can watch Black Widow on Disney Plus, but just this weekend.
Just this day on Saturday.
Yeah. Would that have been? Oh my god.
One time only, 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe they were, you know what?
They might have been taking notes, yeah.
They might have been taking notes. They also might have, this is going to sound really strange, but I mean, I think AT&T, Warner Media is not in a great place right now. You know, I mean, Disney's had to lay off a lot of people too. You know, I think maybe they didn't want to, I think they wanted, you know, the whole movie industry is in complete crisis right now with closure
be a little
theaters.
Respectful maybe,
yeah, I think they didn't want to, I think there's so little thunder right now that there wasn't any need to really steal it in the COVID world. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I'm sure they probably wanted to and just you know, couldn't do it. But you know, I'd like to think that just getting people excited about entertainment again helps all the studios.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So
awesome. But
I would like, you know, there's another shoe that's going to drop. I mean, are we going to see the Eternals? You know, I will tell you when on New Year's Day, 2020, my thought was, if I can get through this election, my reward will be that I get to see the Eternals for my birthday. And now
there are no rewards.
Even that has been stolen from me.
In my mind, it's still February of 2020, so I'm just gonna be like, you know, buffering until then. Whenever life gets back into gear, it's gonna be March 2020.
Well, what did they
not have lost a year of my life? So.
What did they call it in Endgame? The glitch. The glitch. The snap. Yeah, but the kids know it's Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man Far From Home. What do they call it?
Oh, I forgot.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's something else. Yeah,
they call it
I think it was like the glitch.
The blip. They call it the blip. Yeah, so
with the P's of popping.
Yeah, so we got our blip here. So, well, anyway, yeah, good. Okay, so that's really great. Therese, thanks for joining us for the first time. I'm sure.
It all,
sure we'll be.
I will be back to complain about HBO Max.
Yes, we will have a special. Let's just you and I do a special, like, you know, like one of those 7-hour live streams that people do. You know what I'm saying?
Where we just rant and
we
get
just
angrier
go on.
and
We could just let it all out. Drink some wine.
The forum student John and I'll just like boast how we have it and we see everything on it.
Well, you just list everything you could be watching now, and then we'll watch it.
We're like, so we saw this. You guys missed out.
I mean, I'll be back for a Ghibli one if you guys do a Ghibli.
Yeah,
I love Studio Ghibli.
That's on my list of ideas. Once I get through them all, I have about 8 left, I think, 8 or 7, because they're all on there.
Well, and, the way things are going, we're going to get to that. So
yeah, for sure.
You know, we got a long winter ahead of us. Anyway, listen, if you are watching this, you happen to be watching this, don't forget to subscribe to the Comics Beat YouTube channel, and if you're listening to this, don't forget to subscribe to Comic News Insider, Jimmy's podcast.
Right.
And I am
iTunes, Spotify, whatever. Yep.
And I am Heidi MacDonald of Comics Beat at comicsbeat.com. And on all social media, I am COMIXACE Comics Ace.
And I'm Jimmy Aquino with a weekly podcast, Comic News Insider, comicnewsinsider.com. You can find me on the socials at Jimmy Aquino, JIMMYAQUINO.
And I am John Hoche, and you can regularly hear me on Comic News Insider. And you can find me on social media at JONHOCHE.
And I'm Therese Lacson. I'm from Comics Beat and also Nerdophiles. You can find me at BAMFPIRE, Vampire. That's badass mother fire, like vampire. So.
Oh, see, I thought it was a
Nightcrawler reference.
A Nightcrawler thing, yeah.
Oh,
it's
nice.
So many things. It was like a name that I claimed very long ago, and now I like a little bit regret, but I can't get away from
Love it.
Anymore, so.
Love it.
Yeah, it's like
no
me.
No regrets.
It's like me with Comics Ace. You know, that was my very first AOL screen name back in rush. So yeah, I stick with the brand. Is what I say. Anyway, listen. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And until next time, stay safe. We are Comic Beat Insider.
Thanks, guys. Later.
Bye.
Awesome.
And hold on. I must stop the screen.